hear about aliens. It seems like that's all he ever talks about.
My brother's convinced.
He's always going up on that topic, isn't he?
Is that a good closeness right there?
Is that good? You good? All right, awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Contractor USA, and I'm excited because I have Andrew Schroeder. Now, I got to ask the question really quick, though. Any connection to Saved by the Bell?
None.
Okay,
Yeah.
because there's a character named Schroeder, right?
Is there?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Saved by the Bell, that old
I remember
80s
like
flick.
Zach Morris.
Oh, yeah, there's a Zach Morris, and but I think his real name is actually Schroeder.
Is it?
His last name.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I used to be. They used to tell me when I was a kid that I looked like Zach Morris.
Oh, there you go.
So
You could be his doppelganger.
Doppelganger, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I'm here with Andrew, and I'm excited. You finished up our school, got your contractor's license in what trade?
General B.
General B. And what is the name of your company?
Build right.
Build Right.
Yeah.
And website?
None yet.
None yet, but gonna get there.
I don't have one yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not yet.
No worries. How long have you had your license now so far?
It's just been about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Well, actually, I don't even
Okay.
have it yet because my bond isn't actually finalized yet. So.
Okay.
But-
So you've been working for someone, doing some stuff. Now you got your license, and then you're chomping at the bit to get out there and just start.
I've already getting calls, man. I mean, like,
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a call from Temecula, city of Temecula,
Okay.
to be their prime contractor over there.
Wow, that's awesome.
That was a pretty cool call to get. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Now, what kind of project they're looking for?
So for example, right now they're doing the remodel at the Stampede.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a dance club out there, but he's like their main contractor and he's getting ready to retire.
Yeah.
So he asked me if I'd be interested in taking that
That's
role.
crazy.
And so we're going to try a few jobs out together. So
Now that's more specifically a dance hall for like cowboys and
Yes.
that kind. Okay, for like
a nightclub kind of.
the line dancing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Country
yeah.
line
I know
bar,
some people
yeah.
that have been out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I've actually never been, but my wife, she likes to go dance sometimes. So
My daughter loves that.
yeah.
Yeah. My wife does, but it's more, she likes classical dance. So we go to places. We've been to, like, we went to New York, I forget the name of the place. I think it's above by Tiffany's, but some special place at the top of a building. I can't remember. But it's $500 a plate, and it's really high class orchestra dancing. And that was, I went once because I could afford it then. No, I still can, but.
How did you feel when you were dancing up there, though? Like,
It
did you
was
feel like you
amazing.
had to be like proper, or did you just go up there and have some fun?
You had to have a tuxedo on. They wouldn't let you in unless you had that. And they had professional dancers that they hired there that would get the group going and that knew how to dance. And so they really kept the pace and the rhythm of everything. So it was really cool. It's people go there a lot of times. It's at the top of not the Empire State Building, but one of the other buildings. I can't remember. Sears Tower or something. I have no idea. They could all look it up on Google. But yeah, so anyways, man, I'm glad you're here. You got it. And so what kind of work do you normally do?
So I started out doing I was a union carpenter at first. We were
Okay.
doing pour-in-place concrete parking garages. And then from there, I got hurt on a job, actually. And while I was off, my dad asked me if I could tile his shower.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, I mean, I could cut wood. I don't see why I can't cut tile, you know?
Yeah.
I did some research on how to do it, and I demoed his bathroom, and it turned out awesome. And from there, it just kind of like started, like people started calling me, wanting me to do work for them.
Oh, wow.
And so I never went back to the union.
Okay.
And
Because you were
so-
making good money doing that then?
Well, I mean, I was still not licensed, so I felt, kind of like that pressure from,
Yeah.
obviously having to get things done legally.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started working for other contractors, doing
Okay.
restoration jobs and stuff.
Okay.
And then, so that kind of gave me like more of the background of like more of the trades. And then I just decided to start my own business. And so then I found you.
Sweet. I like that.
On a sign that said contractor license, call now.
Yeah.
And so I called it, and I met your friendly team, and you guys have been super helpful, and it's been awesome.
Oddly enough, you found me on a banner and then found me by coming in here, and we go to the same church.
Yeah, right.
But we didn't, because it's a big church, so we
Right.
didn't know. That's funny.
Well, I mean, it's, I also coach baseball, so,
Okay.
we're busy all the time. So
Yeah, same here.
we don't go to the same service every
Events and
yeah,
different things.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So you started off doing tile. Now, when you were doing tile, I mean, how did you learn that? You didn't really know how. Did you go watch some YouTube videos? What'd you do?
No, I bought a tile saw and I just pushed a piece of tile through it.
You're like, oh, that worked.
Yeah, and it, a little laser popped up, kind of was
Yeah.
simple to see where the mark was. And like I said, I was a carpenter before that, so had the general building background.
Yeah.
And then had to stick them to the wall. I figured I couldn't use liquid nails, so had to do all the waterproof.
No Elmer's glue.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work for tile.
Double-sided sticky.
Okay.
tape. Yeah.
And what made you think, you know what? Hey, this cut edge, I'm going to hide that in the crack instead of putting that out in the middle. Did you just intuitively just kind of know that?
I think so. Maybe from the framing background.
Okay.
Kind of learn how to hide your.
Okay.
Not hide, but learn where to put your cut ends and stuff. So.
And this was for your dad or stepdad or father?
Yeah.
Father. Oh,
My
your
dad.
father. Okay. And so I guess the question is, did he like it?
Oh yeah, loves it. I actually ended up doing his master shower just a few weeks ago. So
Okay. He's like, wow, I get cheap labor. Get this done.
Yeah, and it had been a few years between the two bathrooms, and the second one is it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. And married, kids?
I'm married. Yep, I have 5 kids.
And so 5 kids.
5 kids. Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
You can have more?
Well, God blessed me with 5, and I think that's a big responsibility to take care of. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Okay, cool. And ages or ranges?
So my oldest is 11, and my youngest will be 5 on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that keeps you busy because they're all younger.
Yeah. Within
Balls of
6
energy.
years, there's 5 kids. So.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, you can go for a dozen. Be like the Duggards or something. Yeah. Would they do like 20 something?
I'm actually one of 15, actually.
Really? No way.
Yeah.
Are you close to your brothers and sisters?
Yeah, we're pretty close.
That's crazy. What was life growing up like that?
It was busy. Yeah.
So always commotion in the house, always
Never
energy,
a dull moment. Yeah.
Always someone to play with.
Yeah.
Pretty much
A lot of
pretty
friends.
difficult to get bored.
Pretty difficult to get bored. That's true. Yeah. So my parents moved us out to Gavilan Hills when I was 10.
Okay.
Which we had 2 acres of property.
Nice.
And it was like heaven out there, man.
Yeah.
There was lizards and plenty of room to ride our bikes. And my dad bought a tractor.
Okay.
So we started making bike jumps and stuff. And then we would go around and see all the new development. They would be digging pools. So we would go and take all the dump trucks of dirt and just bring it to my dad's house. And then he would come home from work and see all these mountains of dirt everywhere. And we'd be out there.
What you guys been doing?
Yeah.
Okay, how many brothers, how many sisters?
So there's 9 girls and 6 boys. I'm the second oldest. So I'm the first boy. I have an older sister.
Did the sisters kind of try to mother you boys?
Sometimes. Not really.
No?
I think it was my mom did a really good job holding down the fort. She really kind of we all had chores. Everyone had their established positions in the house,
Yeah, 15 kids, you got to.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we all had our chores, and we all had a buddy, so we had to take care of one of the younger kids. That was our little buddy.
Okay.
So help out
did you have a buddy or you were a buddy?
I was the second oldest, so I had a buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you close to all your brothers and sisters? You guys talk?
Yeah, we all talk. Everyone gets along, actually. So.
That's awesome. Did they move here to Cali?
We're all here. Most of us are here.
Okay.
I have 2 sisters in Texas, and I have a brother in Kansas. Oh, 2 brothers in Kansas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. You rarely run into anybody who has that big of a family, right?
Yeah.
So you guys must get all kinds of questions when you're out. You say, "Yeah, I have 15 brothers." What?
Yeah, yeah.
How did that work?
We've heard it all. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So.
that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so then got married. Now, does she have a big family too?
She has 1 sister.
Oh, so wow, that must be really weird for her to have 5 kids. That's a lot for her, right?
Well, coming into into my family, obviously with a bunch of kids, also was probably pretty overwhelming.
Yeah,
I would assume.
Yeah,
but she's actually close with all of them now too. As time, we've been together since 2008. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A good long time. Now, it must be when you guys get gifts, you're not getting gifts for all the brothers and sisters and all their children, right? It's just do you buddy that up too?
We do Secret Santas for the adults.
Okay.
And then we do Secret Santas for the kids.
Okay, that works.
So that way only one kid's buying for one kid and
Good.
one adult's buying for one adult.
Yeah.
But imagine my dad, right?
Oh, no.
15 kids when we're all growing up.
Oh.
Christmas was the Christmas tree would be in the corner and there'd be 12 feet of presents. just surrounding.
Oh, man.
It was crazy.
So now, as brothers and sisters, were you guys good at then sharing your gifts? Because you probably played with your brother's toys. He played with yours.
So he played with mine, but my closest brother, John, he actually would take his toys on his birthday, the same thing, you know, and he would take them down the hall and keep them there for himself. You know? Then,
He was one of those. These ones are mine.
Yeah. I remember this fire truck he had, man. It was cool. I mean, this thing was all metal. It had this ladder that popped up on it. It went out, you know.
Yeah.
And we all wanted to play with that fire. It made noise. It had sirens on it. And he kept that thing in prime condition for years, you know.
Wow. Is he still good with his stuff? Like he takes care of it?
Oh, yeah.
He's that kind of guy, huh? Okay. So did you have a brother then who was like the terror? They just destroyed things as they went and their stuff didn't last long, you know, because they just used it.
That was probably me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And my little brother, Matthew, he's the youngest, and he gets away with the most, I think, for sure.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I remember being over there one time with my mom, and, you know, I had maybe 1 or 2 kids at the time. And my little brother, Matthew's, like, walking on top of the couch, you know, and I'm like, Mom, really? She goes, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
That would not be allowed when we were growing up. You know?
So grandkids get special
Oh,
privileges.
no, this is my youngest brother.
Your youngest brother. Oh, okay.
So, but I'm saying to my mom, like, hey, like, we wouldn't be allowed to do that growing up. And
like, what do I do?
yeah. She's like, well, you know.
She got older. She got more wise or mature or whatever.
It's not worth it to, you know. And now he's
Okay.
funny. Matthew's funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is your father-in-law jealous you haven't done any work at his house?
I've done some work for him.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I helped him with the patio cover, and
Okay.
and let's see, I've done some other stuff. You know.
Okay.
He actually lived across the street from us for I think 3 years. So.
The grandkids must have loved that. His grandkids being able to run over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did too. He drives trucks, so he's not around as much as he wants to be, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. And so now, you're coaching baseball? Do you just put all the older boys on one team, or you just coach in multiple teams, or you take one kid at a time?
So we play in Canyon Lake, which is awesome because most of the games are there at Canyon Lake.
Yeah.
So initially, I signed up my kids to play ball over there because it's a nice community, nice fields, and then I was asked to be an assistant coach, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll help out and stuff. And then the fields needed maintenance, so then I was maintaining the fields over there, you know. And then they're like, all right, you're the new field maintenance manager, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then they're like, well, now we don't have a coach for these 2 teams, so we need you to be the coach. And I was like, okay, you know. And then so next season came around, and then I wanted to coach, you know. So then I have my 2 older boys. Okay. He's 11 and 9 now. Okay. And then they play, and we actually went undefeated last season. And then we went to the TOC's Tournament of Champions.
Nice, yes.
And we were undefeated there as well. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, so then the next year, if you keep coaching, they're going to go into the majors, right?
Yes.
And then from the majors, then if you're the coach and you win TOC, you become the all-star coach.
Correct.
Wow.
I actually was all-star coach this season also.
Oh, okay.
But
your kids were in the majors?
AAA.
Oh, okay, AAA, okay.
So it'd be like equivalent to like a 10 or 11U.
Yeah.
But so because we had just transferred to Canyon Lake, there's like a 1-year probation waiting period or something.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So I actually, since I was the manager of the winning team, I was also coaching on the All-Star team.
Wow.
But my kids weren't able to play.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But
that's why I was asking. I'm like, wait, they can't go up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you had some fun. Now I coached the All-Stars too. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, so because you're competing for state best.
Right.
Right. And I got eliminated pretty quick. We won like 3 games. That was about the end of that.
Yeah. All-Stars is a tough champ. I mean, it's a tough battle for sure. Especially up against Temecula. Their roster's like 500 or 600 people.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So when they're picking their team, they're like,
They get the cream of the crop.
Let's do it in height order, you know? Start with that, you know?
Yeah, that's funny.
So.
Well, very cool. So back to construction. So interesting, though. Your life is interesting because I never run into people who have so many children and also come from a family of such a large family. So that's why I was going in on that. But so Built Right, it's up, it's running. Your license should show up pretty soon. All you got to do is get your bond, and once they get that, boom, your insurance agent will send that over there, so that'll take care of that. And then now you can start taking on all these bigger projects, Temecula, like you talked about. How are you seeing out there right now the playing field for construction? Are you seeing it as busy, slow? What's your take on it?
So, I mean, you could drive down the freeway and see construction happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And the thing about construction is the economy doesn't build unless we have construction.
Exactly.
So we need people to build, right?
Yeah.
So if we don't have people building,
Yep.
we're not going to grow as an economy, and we're not going to grow as individuals either.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that construction is a very lucrative business, and there's a lot of people that kind of look past it, like maybe look down upon it.
Yeah.
But I did a few years of junior college, and I just did it because I didn't know what else to do out of high school, you know. And I realized at that moment that schooling, continuing on in education with school wasn't really what I was drawn to do.
Okay.
So I like to work with my hands, always have liked being on tractors and just building things. And then someone asked me one day, like, what's inside that wall? And I'm like, no clue. And I'm starting to look around. I'm like, how are these buildings constructed?
Huh. Yeah.
So it kind of brought my attention to that. So then it comes back to what goes involved with building a building is so many different trades.
Yes.
So it takes a lot of people to build our community.
Yeah.
And so without all those different trades and different people, nothing's going to happen. So.
Yeah, no, I love your take on it, because that's kind of what I've been saying over and over again. Construction's not going to go anywhere. One, we have a 6.4 million home deficit in America. We don't have enough homes to take care of everybody. The other problem is a lot of the homes we're having over time, they begin to dilapidate. The law of thermodynamics, they begin to fall apart. So that's number two. They're falling apart. That's why when the current president came in, well, I mean, he stepped down, but when Biden came in, he basically passed a law that people who do fix and flips are going to get incentivized. A lot of people don't know about that. And so there's grants, there's monies there available from the government to build these back so that we can have homes, because we don't have enough. So there is so much money to be made in construction. And it's one of the most safe industries there is, because everything has to be built. Everything's going to fall apart over time. It's totally safe. When someone's done with a specific brand, like Mervyn's, they're done.
Yeah.
Business dead. But construction's going to keep going.
Right.
There's no end. And so it's one of the greatest industries there is in all the world. And let's face it, without what you do, because you're a general contractor, without general contractors and contractors, there would be no human civilization. We'd still be living in the wild.
Right.
I mean, contractors have built all of society.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to Jesus. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, further than that.
He was a carpenter,
right.
Exactly.
That's funny. Yeah.
No, that's crazy. So I love this industry. That's why I love this podcast. And I love that you are entering into that world where you've been in it, but now you're taking your piece and you're going to start doing your thing and offering your services to the world. So my question to you then is, I read this book called Blue Ocean, and really the Blue Ocean is about why you, what makes you different. So if you can kind of touch on that, why you?
So, I mean, when I go to a job bid, I know that I wasn't doing it legally at first, right? But when I would go and meet with a customer and talk to them about their needs or wants on what they, what their project is in mind, a common question that I have with my buddy is, would I hire myself?
That's a great question.
Would you hire you?
Yeah.
If someone came to your house and was presenting whatever they're doing, tile work or framing, whatever. Yeah. Would you hire yourself? And what would it take for someone to hire you? Yeah. And so that's something I keep in my mind when I go and talk to people about their projects or go for a bid or something. And I think that maybe the difference between me and some other contractors is, like, I really take pride in what I do, and I really enjoy helping people. Yeah. And, what I like to say is, I'm in the people business. I just happen to build cool stuff. Yeah. That's so, I mean, without those clients that you're working with, of course, if you don't make them happy, you're walking into a dead end road.
Yeah.
So, why me? Because I care about my customers and I care about what I do.
That's good.
And without taking care of my customers, it's just a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
You take care of your customers, you're going to get referrals, you're going to get paid, you're going to get more money, you're going to feed your family, and then everything just gets better, right?
Yeah.
It's like watering a tree.
Yeah.
And so when you don't care or you don't take care of your customers and you just kind of get your pay and you're on to the next thing and you kind of just wash them away, those are the people that, the statistics are that 80% of construction businesses close within the first, 2 years or something?
So within the first 5 years.
5 years, yeah. So, that's just a good statistic right there, right? Yeah. So there's going to be the person that stands out and takes care of their customers and that cares about their work and takes pride in it. And then there's going to be the other half, or the other 80%.
Yeah.
So, and I like to consider myself in that 20%, right?
Yeah.
And my goal is to just continue to grow and to continue to make a difference in this world. Yeah. My motto is building America one nail at a time. I
love it.
So
that's good.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting because obviously we're in construction, so we know the ins and outs of construction. But I relate it to like an auto mechanic. When I go to take my car in, I'm like, and they tell me all these things that are maybe not working. I'm like, are they taking advantage of me? I don't even know. I mean, I know some stuff. I mean, I can change oil, do a tune-up, but when they start getting the nitty-gritty, that's not my field of expertise, right? And I'm like, I know where all the parts are called and what they do, but I'm like, are they taking advantage? And I think a lot of people that don't know construction, they think of the same thing. Okay, is this contractor, are they going to take advantage of me? Are they building my dream? Are they going to do a good job? And those kinds of questions. And so I think that obviously the proof's in the pudding, right? They don't know you until they know you for a lot of them, but that's how you get a lot of referrals and repeats because they realize, wow, everything they do, they just do a great job. They always take care of me. They're respectful, all those kinds of things. So I love it.
So let me ask you a question. So when you go to an auto mechanic to get your car fixed, what would make you feel comfortable when they're fixing your car and for you to continue to use that auto mechanic?
I think that if it was my first time meeting them, that they came out and talked to me. I wasn't just a number at a counter, I go to places, you're a number in a counter, they just take it in. And I get it, they got to make money, right? And I understand that. But you can tell quality time over quantity of time, that in the few moments that you have with them, they're listening to you. They're hearing you, the problem. And at the same time, through their listening and how they address you, they give you all their time. You could tell, okay, they seem genuinely interested in helping me because I want to see that. I can't know that until we dive into it. Of course, because we say that, right? I genuinely care for people, but they don't know that until we've done a job for them, right? So you're hoping then by some kind of faith that they're going to really do that. And when you have a contractor all said and done that does take care of you, then that's when you keep coming back, or I should say an auto mechanic keeps taking care of you, and they're like, they show you stuff. So my wife, I own a company in Hawaii, and we took one of our cars in because the CV boot at the bottom that connects to the tire and the axle burst, and I wasn't there to help, and they go, look, we just want to show you, we're going to raise it up, and they point out, look at this, see this, it's broken. And she felt so comfortable, and they took care of her, and they showed her the other one. They said, this one doesn't have to be replaced, but it is wearing. We want you to see, and she felt so comfortable. And now she goes in there, and they give her wine and stuff. They always love her when she comes in. But cool. They're personalized care.
So taking the time to explain the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. So, what do you do when you're talking with your clients?
The same thing. Yeah. The same thing is go through I think once, a lot of times you go into a new client's house, they're going to kind of feel you out to see if you actually know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to might just okay, so what would you do on this? And they kind of just get your, kind of just trying to read you, I think. But once you establish that, and explain to them what the process is and what the options are, right? Or what the objections might be or something like that, it shows them, it builds that relationship now, that trust, right? Mm-hmm. And, showing up on time, that's another thing.
Yes.
I'm difficult. It's hard for me to show up on time. You ask my wife and kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting better, you know.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say, maybe I'll just stop talking about this. We could edit this out later. But
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I get it though. You want a person who shows up on time, right?
yeah.
Okay.
You want someone to show up on time, someone they could trust and rely on, someone who knows what they're doing, who
Okay.
cares, and who has a valuable input to
Yeah.
what they're trying to build.
Yeah.
You know. And another thing I like to do is create on Pinterest is collaboration.
Okay.
So let's say a client has a kitchen that they want to remodel, but she doesn't really know what she wants, right? So I'll create a page on Pinterest that we could both throw pictures of different styles into that
Interesting.
collaboration.
Okay.
And if she doesn't like it, she could delete it.
Oh.
If I don't like it, I could delete it.
Okay.
You know? So
Yeah.
then it kind of narrows down that, you know, kind of narrows it down to all the things that she wants, right? And then we'll meet up again after that and say, okay, well, do you like the cabinet color, styles, you know, the different handles and
I
stuff.
got to ask you a question though, because I'm older. So if it deletes, I forgot I even put it in there. So I just put it back in there because I forget when I'm dealing with tons of clients. So does it have a deleted pile so you can see what got taken out of there?
I mean, you could like make comments on it too and
Okay.
say like, I like this one. And then,
Oh,
so
okay,
that'll
cool.
kind of,
Yeah.
let's just say it's countertops, right?
Yeah.
And I put in 5 different countertops that I think look good, and she puts in 3 or 4.
Okay.
So now there's 8 or 9 countertops in there,
Yeah.
and
a great
she deletes 4 of them, and I delete 5.
Okay.
You know, that's 9, but you know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying. But
It's left with one at least.
yeah.
Hopefully at the end. Of the
right, or the you know, similar style. So then
Yeah,
we'll stop
okay.
putting countertops in there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. I think probably your contract or your client, especially if it's a female, especially would probably love that collaboration because they're trying to figure it out. They want something new that's beautiful and amazing, and they're still trying to figure it out themselves, right? I've noticed that doing a lot of kitchen remodels. So is that what you do? A lot of kitchen remodels, bathrooms, room additions, or what's your mainstay?
So my main would be like during the winter times, colder seasons, a lot of inside work, so floorings, a lot of kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, a lot of stuff inside.
Okay.
And then in the summer when it starts to get warmer, then I start talking about patio covers and outdoor living and stuff like that.
Okay.
I really like to work with like big timber stuff and build big patio
yeah.
covers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that's I mean, it's so rewarding, and it's so I like doing that.
And you got this big thing that just looks awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
I actually had a client call me last year, and he wanted me to build for him a patio cover. It was 64 feet by 22
Wow.
feet,
Wow.
and he wanted me to do it out of aluminum,
Really?
the aluminum wood.
Huh.
So we came up with this design and had it engineered, and anyways, we ended up building it, and it got back to aluminum wood, what we did. And so they hired a photographer to come out, took a bunch of pictures.
That's great.
And then so at the end of every year, they post on their social media to post all your pictures of the best jobs you did.
Okay.
Well, in all of United States, I won second place.
That's awesome, man.
For patio cover of the year.
Now they're
So-
going to let you put that on your website when you build the website.
Oh, they gave me all the raw footage.
nice.
Yeah, they promoted me
Okay.
for a long time.
Cool.
For what it was. So
So you got some social media. You don't have a website yet, but you have some social media. Do you have one for your business?
I do, yes.
Okay. So like Instagram, Built Right on Instagram or something?
Yeah, BUILD. So it's build right.
Okay.
And then build right, and then the underscore is what my
Okay, so
Instagram
they can find
handle.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because now that you're licensed, you can start taking all kinds of jobs.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Okay. Now, when it comes to work, okay, so we talked about the blue ocean. You said it's because you care. Nobody really can know that unless they hear from friends who say, yeah, they really do care because it's a referral or it's a repeat, right? That you've been there, you've done a good job for them, and they want you for more work. So that first-time person. One of the things I do want to remind you of is when you get some video and you get some stuff on your phone, you send it over to my producer here that nobody here that can see him, but he's behind the scenes. He's the Oz. But you send it over, and he's going to make you your first video. It's our way of saying thank you for being a part of our school. Because when let's say someone calls you up, hey, I'm thinking about getting this done. I found your number on your social media. Can you come over and can we set an appointment? You're like, yeah. How about Friday, a couple days from now? I could be there at like 9. Does that work out? Perfect. Mind if I just shoot you a text? I'm going to remind you that I'm coming by and a little video. Like, oh yeah, they love that, right? Well, Do you know how many contractors never send a little video that is a montage of their work that looks really good? Almost none, right? So all of a sudden you send this montage video and they're like, that speaks volumes. And you can even schedule a time where you come in and just kind of talk about it a little bit. Just give your vision and passion if you wanted to. And then what happens is you have that first video that goes out to them, and that's almost like a blue ocean because number one, 99% of contractors are not doing that. Yeah. Two, it shows off your work, and the more they hear your voice, the more they hear you, the more they hear your heart, right? And that's the key, idea. Right? Because that's all people want. They just want someone that takes care of them. Yeah. You know, they're willing to pay more if they know that you're legit taking care of them and just not upselling them on more junk. Yeah. You know, the bad contractors are the ones who they just try to get in at the minimum, and they're going to rape them over their coals or rake them over the coals by just simply upcharging over and over, massive upcharges. And there are people that actually use that strategy, and that's really what puts a black eye in the field of construction. You know, people get upset about that. People just want to know, okay, this is the price, right? Yeah. You know, pretty basic. So so don't forget about that video. But I like that you're thinking about that more in detail. Keep thinking about that because there's always little other nuanced things that you can do. You know what I mean? That speaks volumes. Let me talk about this. I don't know if you do this. Some people do this, but is there on your exit strategy from the project? Is there any kind of celebration at the end? Do you drop off a basket of fruit? Do you do anything kind of cool like that? Or is there any kind of last moment thing or a collage of pictures or anything for them?
So when I do bathroom remodels, that's something that I kind of did as like I started off with one of my first bathroom remodels, not my dad's, but beyond that. And it was I had custom towels made with their embroidered letter, like the monogram. What is it?
Monogram. Yep.
Of their last name or whatever. Okay. And in the color scheme of their bathroom, you know. And so that was a pretty good hit. And then when I do kitchen remodels, it's usually like a cutting board with their monogram in that.
Okay.
You know.
That's great.
So I always try to take a step above, you know. That's awesome. If they're asking for recessed lights, you know, like I'll get some, I don't know. I mean, that's a bad example, but you know, kitchen remodel, like always take a step ahead. You know, always never do the bare minimum. Yeah. Because if you're going to take an extra step and it's going to show that you're caring, right?
Yeah,
like going
absolutely.
Back to that care thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just a quick thing that you can do. I'm a big believer in lots of partnerships. I create massive partnerships, but we are in the wine country. Did you know that even Italy knows about Temecula because our temperature is the same as Italy as compared to Napa? We're on that same plane.
That's cool.
Whether it's longitude or latitude. One of them. I think it's latitude. We're on the same latitude as them. And so when I was over there, they asked where you're from. I'm like, oh, you're not going to know where I'm from. I'm from Temecula. Like, oh, Temecula, that's the same as us. You know, because they actually sent all their vines here. So you can go to these wineries and say, hey, after my jobs, I would like to give them a basket or a bouquet of something, and you guys put your name on it. It'll be from you and from me. Can I get either a reduced rate or free? And I'll give these to my clients. I do about 3 projects, 4 projects, whatever, a month as a way of saying thank you. And don't forget, go out to this winery because they're great. And then not only are you now being a partner, you're going to be a preferred vendor on their vendor list when they need construction stuff done.
That's a great idea.
Those kind of partnerships, man, I create those all day long.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because you get a lot of free stuff and everybody's trying to promote themselves. And when you, as the contractor who did a successful job, is saying, hey, thank you so much. I want to give you this gift. This is from my partner, whatever wine country. And now you're actually giving value because you're recommending that. That's a strong recommend.
That's very good.
So things for you to do that, and it shows the community that you're in, that you're a player. You're playing, and you're part of this community, and you're working together. You know, I'll build you, you build me. Yeah. Let's work together.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so little things. Do you have anything like that going at all? Have you thought?
No, I mean I haven't. I actually haven't. So that's really valuable for sure.
Now that you're licensed, you can get all those things going and stuff. So here's another question. You've been in construction all these years, right? And you've seen things, and without, obviously, we don't want to degrade any business or industry, nothing like that's not our goal here. But you've obviously seen contractors do things like, man, I wouldn't do that. What are maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of those things where you're like, you've seen contractors that do these things, you're like, I would never want that even in my house. you know, and so you make sure that you never do those things because you care about your client. Do you have anything off the top of your head?
I think the biggest thing that I see fail is the communication, the line of communication.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
And so that's like pretty, I mean, even for me sometimes, like, and I have worked with a lot of great different trades, and I've filtered through a bunch of bad ones, you know, or I've met a bunch of bad ones. But so the ones that I would like to work with, I've worked with before, and they're all really good now. So we're to that point where we've kind of filtered out all this bad. So, but when you're trying to get a hold of somebody, when let's just say they're installing some windows for you or something, and they're nowhere to be found. Yeah. And they just won't even simply pick up the phone and just let you know what's going on. Yeah. That drives me nuts. Yeah. And so I can imagine being at a customer side of it, halfway through a job, and there's just no communication, right? Or they're trying to call you about something that happened. Like, I think it's really important to be available to your clients and be available to your subs and to your prime contractor and communicate.
Yeah. No, I think you tapped onto something great, and you said this. You said it earlier, and so I'm going to tie this in. You were talking to that other contractor, and you guys have kicked around, well, are you the contractor that you would hire? Well, we, being in construction, it's like a no-brainer. We go in, we do our work, we got our stuff dialed in, we know the process, we know what we're doing. But from the homeowner's perspective, they're like, why is there a hole right there? I don't understand why this is like that. And they have a trepidation, or even maybe a slight worry, fear, maybe you could add that word, I'm not sure. But they just don't know, and they don't know what they don't know. And so there's this nervousness, right? And the only person that can dispense that nervousness is you. And sometimes we're so much into our own thing. We got family, we got life, we got all these details, we got coaching, we got these other jobs, and we're just trying to get in. We know what we're doing. Just stay out of our way. We'll get your project done. And I've heard contractors say that and sound actually quite rude to their homeowners. Look, just get out of my way. I'm going to get this done. You're going to see when it's done. It's going to be done, right? And it's going to look good, and you're going to thank me. But at the same time, they're nervous, and approaching it that way is not the best way. But like you said, communicating, making them feel comfortable, especially if you're in the home and it's the female in the home, because, you know, she wants to feel comfortable with you there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so such a valid point.
You talked about something during our contractors, one of the classes, and you said when you go through your interview process, one of the questions is, would you let that person work inside of your house?
Yeah.
And that stuck with me too. It's like, and you were talking about employees here. Yeah. You know, when you're interviewing to hire somebody, would you want that person, or would you trust them to work in your house with your kids and your wife? You know,
exactly.
And you're out on another job, right? Yeah. So that's something I keep in mind too. Yeah. And so recently I was on another job, and the subcontractor or the prime contractor was talking to the business owner, and she kept saying things that were triggering to me, like, okay, these are important, right? Yeah. These are important. Yeah. And he would just dismiss them. Interesting. Yeah. And not really focus in on, you know, the little things. For example, the paint on the wall. Yeah. And there was a bunch of nail holes from like pictures and stuff she had. And it was important for her to have those nail holes caulked, right? Yeah. So they're over there doing all kinds of other things, prepping the floors. And she calls me, she goes, Andrew, they're not patching these holes. Yeah. And I called them up and said, hey guys, make sure you just take 15 minutes, walk around with a caulking gun and just fill the holes. Exactly. Like, we're going to get to it. I said, but that's not what's important to her right now. Yeah. To her, she sees the nail holes. Yeah. To you guys, you think, oh, we're going to cover all these floors, protect the windows, all these other things, which are equally important. Yeah. But for her, she sees the nail holes are not done. Yeah. And so even if it takes 15 minutes, direct those immediate concerns of the customers, get those satisfied right away, because then it's going to show importance to her or to the homeowner.
It shows value to her. She realizes, okay, you do value me. And, you know, if she was thinking about it in the long run, she'd probably realize they're probably going to get to it. But, you know, people have their own things and they need to be addressed. I love that. Yeah. No, that's great. Some of the things that I've noticed, and maybe you can tag on to this, is you ever notice like the contractor who just bails on the project and doesn't clean up their mess before they leave. They just they figure this is my zone, stay out of my zone, Mr. Homeowner or Mrs. Homeowner, and they just leave their tools in a mess. Haven't you seen those kinds of things? So things I wouldn't do. I always put my tools, and all you got to do is clean up the room, and you could leave your tools and all your junk there, but if you put it in a nice symmetrical order, the homeowner feels so good. Like they think, I got the best contractor. Little things.
Yeah.
You know?
I noticed that too, yeah.
Yeah.
So I even tell the guys that I work with sometimes that, if we're going to take a lunch break, do a quick tidy before we go to lunch, because guess what's going to happen as soon as we step out of this room? Homeowner's going to come in and check out what's going on, right? And they want to know. And if they walk in and they see just chaos, demo everywhere. Like, obviously if you're demoing something, like that's going to be different, but if you're organized as you go along the way, and they could sneak in there when you're on your lunch break and they see that your toolboxes are lined up.
They love it.
Your saw's unplugged.
Yes.
And things are safe for their kids walking around, and everything's swept up, at least tidy, right?
Yes.
And I think that makes a big difference as well.
There's so many things that I've noticed over the years: dust control, putting up tarps, putting fans that suck the dust out of the kitchen. I always tarped off the kitchens because, one, I didn't want them to see the process very much, because they don't understand the process and they have questions. And then you're having the conversation sometimes a little too much. Well, we're going to address that. We're going to take care of that. And you try to do it the best you can, but they don't understand why it's going through this process. So I tarp it up. I have it zipped when I leave, but it is clean, because you know when you leave, they're going to go. They're going to unzip it. Right. They're going to peek in. They're going to look. And then what I do is I always open up that window that's usually over the sink. I have take out the thing, put a fan that sucks it out into a filter, because you could just connect a regular old house filter that goes in the ceiling right on the other side, in a little containment thing, if you don't have a professional system. But it keeps all the dust out, things like that. I noticed I would see painters would come in and they would kind of half tarp, and then they would spray stuff. It's all over.
Nuts.
You see that? Yeah. Oh, I hate that.
We just did a full house remodel over here locally, and we're done with it. I mean, we did walls, floors, everything. Anyway, so then the painter comes in afterwards, and he was going to paint, and I said, okay, well, we just hired a professional cleaner to come over here. Make sure that you take care of it, right? So he comes over and sprays the doors. And I go back over there, and he's just spraying them on top of a piece of cardboard on the floors that were just installed. And I just said, hey, man, you have overspray over the entire house. This is unacceptable. I need you to come and fix this. And he's like, oh, no, you just take a dust mop to it, and it'll come right up. And I said, well, I don't want to take the dust mop to it. I've already hired someone to come and clean the whole house.
You do the dust mopping.
If it's that simple, And sure enough, he came over there and it was just stuck to the floor. So he had to take his time and clean it. I mean, it is what it is. You just have to
People will try to get away with everything, especially other contractors. A lot of them. Not. There's a lot that are really good, and those are the ones who are the 20% that you talked about, that their business lasts more than 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And then there's the ones, which is, you said 80, it's actually 83.9% of all contractors fail and or go bankrupt because they're disorganized. They don't do a good job. They don't put the client first. They just blow in, blow out, and they're done. They do their stuff. They make a mess. They leave a mess. They get no referrals or repeats. And you only get 3 types of jobs: leads generated from social media and marketing, referrals and repeats. That's it. And if they lose the referrals and repeats, they're going to die, And it's probably good that they die because they're not taking care of their clients. But it also puts a black eye in a lot of the people that we're going to. And sometimes we're doing more than just representing ourselves. We're actually fixing the trauma they got from other contractors, right? And so that's what I think that the good contractors understand. And I think that's what I love about you, because you understand that, and you can go in and genuinely take care of that client, and you're going to be so slammed with work. It's going to be unbelievable because you're striving to do a good job. So that's awesome. I love that. Now, has that always been a part of your thought, or going into it, I really just want to take care of my clients, or has that been a process that has evolved over time in your mind?
So someone told me once, they said, do what's right even when no one's looking.
I love that.
And so that always stuck with me when I would do projects for people and stuff. So for example, this lady, she and her husband was handicapped,
Yeah.
and she had me go over and do some work for her. And while I was there, I mean, we had a really good relationship.
Yeah.
Well, while I was there, she had some painters come in as well.
Yeah.
And do some painting over there. And a few months later, we had a really good relationship.
Yeah.
And she was happy with the work I did and stuff. And
Yeah.
and so she calls me a few months later and she just says, hey Andrew, like,
Yeah.
I know that I'm not blaming you, but my wedding ring went missing out of my drawer
Oh man.
in my master bedroom. And
Wow.
I said, well, I can assure you that we did not even step foot down the hallway. And she goes, no. She goes, trust me. She goes, I trust you 100%. I know that you would never, and your guys would never. Yeah. She said, but did you happen to see if the painters were in my room? And I said, you know what? I didn't notice if they were in your room or not. You know, it wasn't, they weren't, you hired them. They were your guys. And anyhow, she ended up calling me a few weeks later. She said that she found it underneath the sock or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
But but I was kind of nervous at
Like,
first.
oh,
I'm
man.
like, are you accusing me? She goes, Andrew, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that. She goes, I 100% trust you.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, great. She goes, you've been nothing but awesome. She said, I was just curious if you had seen the painters over there.
Yeah.
So.
There is one good remedy to that, and that is hire my production team, which is my video guy, my videographer, and we go in and set up cameras by the approval of the homeowner. We set up cameras overseeing and watching the project 24/7, so that you get a beginning to end. Those types of videos usually cost a lot. We got to put some expensive cameras out at the job site that are there from the beginning of the job to the end. That way the contractor can get a cool video montage that goes in fast time, so that people go, but it also kind of acts as a safety precaution.
Yeah, that's a
right?
great idea.
That's kind of cool, stuff like that. So let me ask you this. So you're getting out there, you're going to do your job. Now, so just the last couple of questions, and that is, as you go, what kind of advice would you give to contractors or people who are thinking about getting their contractor's license? They've been working for someone, they really just want to kind of maybe get out there, they're getting maybe a couple little side jobs. What would be your advice?
My advice would be to call Alan Diaz.
Yes!
That would be first advice. You know, I've actually referred you to lots and lots of people. Yeah.
I love it.
So, I mean, you really helped me a lot, and you made it very simple, right?
Cool.
So you made it, the classes were in the evenings, 1 day a week for 4 weeks.
I love it.
So, I mean, it was very simple.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you're going into to get your license anyways, I mean, you probably have a pretty good understanding of the information. So, I was a little bit scared of the process because I didn't know it.
Yeah.
And it took me, I filled out a bunch of applications and just never sent them in because I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was just scared of the unknown, really.
Yeah.
And so when I came in and took your class, you broke down the process very simple.
Awesome.
And made it really easy. So I'll just give you an example. So I did the class, did all the classes. I submitted my application, which you helped me fill out. You know, showed me how to properly fill it out so there was no errors. I did get an email back from the Contractors license board for a work experience modification or something.
Okay.
So I try to put myself down as the work experience certifier or whatever.
Oh yeah.
For self-employed.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you can't really do that. So, you know, you have to have someone else do it for you, have them sign it. So I did.
Okay.
And then that was approved. So that, I think, process from application submittal, I sent it certified mails to know that they got it.
Yeah.
Sent it in. While that was in, I went and got fingerprinted.
Yeah.
And so that way that was taking action at the same time. And then within 2 months, or within 2 weeks, I got a response. They said, we received your application. This is what you need to do.
Okay.
So call PSI or call this place to take your
PSI
test.
exams.
Yeah. So I called them, scheduled in an exam. They said, when do you want to do it? We could do it as early as next week. And I was like, well, why don't you give me like an extra couple weeks to study and get my legal stuff situated, right?
Perfect.
With the fingerprints and everything.
Yeah.
So I scheduled it. So I went and took the test, and the facility was clean and easy and very welcoming. I walked in, and they said, oh, you must be Andrew Schroeder. You're here for your 11 o'clock test. And I said, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
"Oh, can we see your ID?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Here you go. Okay. We're gonna hang on to this till you're done. Go ahead and put your stuff in the locker." They give you a key to the locker.
Super simple.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fingerprint on the thing. Sign a piece of paper. Go ahead, take your test. So I walk in this room, put some headphones on, and just take my time. I mean, I have 3 hours to take this test. There's only 100 questions.
How long did you get it done?
35 minutes.
Wow. Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you gave it the practice test.
We gave you great tests.
Yeah, there's 6 practice tests. And I literally would just go through those things.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't, actually, here's a little trick what I did. I just took the test, pushed submit, so I got all the answers wrong.
Okay.
But then in the review sheet, it gives you all the right answers.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So then I just printed out all the right answers.
Yes.
So then when I read the questions, I only memorize the right answers.
That's good.
Right?
Yep.
So then when I took the test,
Good way.
I mean, there's 90% of the questions that are on the practice test are on that, and you only need to pass with a 68% or something. Perfect. So and then you had a great advice on your YouTube video. You said when you're taking your test, don't get frustrated. Yeah. Right? Just go through it, be calm. Yep. You're going to overthink it. You're going to get all stressed out. And I've always been a bad test taker. So I went through, just like you said, click through all the questions on the test. Nice. And if you see an answer, the one that pops out to you, just answer it. Yep. And if you have to think about it, then just push next or save for later or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so I would just flip through them all. And the next thing you know, I'm at 100 questions, and most of them are answered. Yeah. And so then I went back to review them, and then it's really simple. I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. If you just take your time and look how it's answered.
I love that you say simple, because that's always our thing. We want to make it simple and seamless for our contractors. I love that.
It was almost second nature. I didn't even think twice.
Yeah.
Hardly, just answered.
So you're talking about the video where I did the 15 secrets on how to pass them on multiple choice tests.
Yeah, it's a YouTube video. Yeah,
it's very valuable.
Yeah,
people watch that, they're going to pass.
Yeah. Well, and in combination of taking your excellent class. Yeah, that was.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, so I'm excited. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, Built Right. Don't forget, if you're in the Inland Empire, Riverside, San Diego County, use him. He's got his license. He is just ready to go. And I'm excited to see your business grow and thrive. One of the things I want to remind you of, don't forget, we do so many more things than just construction. I'm a private equity fund manager, so I invest in real estate, apartment complexes. I don't know if the cameras can see those, houses, fix and flips. And I'm always inviting everybody, all my contractors, hey, you can be the contractor that bids all the jobs. And if you want, you can throw down something and you could be the investor as well. You're winning in both ways. I'm trying to create a community, a family, a group of people who work together. You need a plumber, and you go, Alan, can I get one of your plumbers on your list? Yeah, here you go. Have them come, get 3 bids, like I always tell everybody. But this community of people who are helping everyone grow, thrive, make good money.
The elite contractors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love it. And so don't forget, we want to be a part of watching you just grow and scale. And and meanwhile, probably see you at church.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for all the everything, all the education, and the smiles. You guys have been awesome. I mean, Power to Grow Wealth, that's another one that's been super cool too. Yep. I mean, you're like you said, a serial entrepreneur, right? So I mean, you've definitely made an impact on my life, and I appreciate that, and all the guys, clientele here, everyone's awesome. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't think they even know about the Power to Gain Wealth, which is a conference and Daring to Win, a second conference that you guys get invited to learn how to grow and scale your business. So thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, you got it.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you.